Let me explain something really fast about Wester Tarpley, who's been on Jonestown espousing a bunch of bullshit recently. They've been going around saying the CIA is responsible for the Egyptian revolution. Wester Tarpley is a fucking idiot. The CIA did not cause a revolution in Egypt. The US and Israel do not benefit at all by Mubarak being pushed out of power. The United States has spent over $70 billion keeping that despot in place. They need Egypt under control because without control of Egypt, they cannot successfully blockade Gaza and they cannot control the Suez Canal, of which Iran has already sent ships through as soon as Mubarak was out of there. It took several assassinations and 3 different wars for the US and Israel to take control of Egypt. Mubarak fled to Israel. It is not in the US and Israel's interest to have a revolution. The people rose up. The CIA did not get millions of people to go flood into Cairo and Alexandria and across the country. That happened because 40% of Egyptians are living on like $2 a day. They had nothing to eat, they're out of work, they're desperate, and they've got this king up there with $70 billion worth in assets from the US on behalf of Israel. It's not in American interest either. It's in Israeli interest, same as the Iraq War. We went to war for Israel. But Tarpley and Jonestown cannot give you the background about Israel. They will not start from Nasser on. But if you'd like to know what the hell's been going on in Egypt, I don't have a video for it yet, but I have the text for it, and I've had it up for a very long time. See the link below, a timeline of the Middle East, and read the sections on Egypt. It'll take you right along through, from Operation Susanna to now. I should not have to make a video explaining every single thing. Just go read it. It's a timeline. It's not even like a book or something. It's just a timeline. This happened on this year, this happened on this year. It'll take you just a few minutes to go through it. And then you will understand the politicking about Egypt over the last few decades with the US and Israel and Britain and the Egyptians. Please do not post any of this CIA did it crap on my website. I'm just throwing it into the stupid folder. It's the dumbest goddamn thing I've heard in a long time. Wester Tarpley's a dumbass, okay? Alex Jones is an Israeli apologist. Yes, he had a rant on Israel before. He'll talk about certain things, but it's like what Michael Moore did to 9/11. He stuck his pinky toe in it. It actually is more of gatekeeping than it is exposing anything. Saying, you know, oh, the Israelis irradiated people, or oh, they hit the USS Liberty. Everyone knows that, okay? He's not even mentioning the occupation, and everyone ought to know that, but they don't. Israel was caught with fucking bombs in vans on 9/11. Not just the dancing Israelis. There were groups of them. There's 6 different vans. I made a huge 2.5-hour movie that I put up for free, War by Deception, about it. And I got another section called We Went to War for Israel that goes more into detail with PNAC and the rest of it. It's another 40 minutes. That's not online. You have to get the DVD. I will put it online. I'm just waiting. I feel like people who got the DVD ought to get something out of it first. So, Tarpley, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. CIA did it. There were millions of Egyptians out there, and if you listen to the people, they gave you their reasons for being out there. They lived under a dictator. They were over it. And this is also not some Islamic uprising either. It was mostly secular. It's young people. They are tired of this tyrant, and they wanted his ass out of there. You know, maybe it's not Alex's fault, because he seems to get saturated with the kookiest retards ever. First we had the loose change crew saying a missile hit the Pentagon, which is a bag of just the dumbest. It's a distraction. It's so stupid. But talking to these people is like talking to a religious cult. They just, no, the hole's too small. Then you show them the rest of the hole, and they say, well, they couldn't have maneuvered the plane like that. Like, well, what if it was remote? Like, well, how come they don't have pictures of it? Like, well, let's see. There's parts of the plane in the building. There's parts of the people who were on that plane in the building. We have all these witnesses who saw it. You're like, oh, the witnesses lied. The parts were planted. The DNA stuff is faked. All those people who died on it are just pretending to be dead, and their families are just going along with it. They just ad hoc after ad hoc, no retards, plane hit the building. The reason there aren't many parts is because there are also secondary explosions, which is also why they confiscated the video, because one of them went off prematurely. I go back on my YouTube like 4 videos and listen to my radio interview about it. I totally freaking owned a missile tard on there. But yeah, the loose change crew is all over Jonestown, and then you get Spetzer, who thinks nuclear bombs or lasers from space took out the towers. I mean, I don't know how he finds these freaks. We have a very, we don't have to speculate, you know. Watch for by deception. I told you who put explosives in there, how they got them in there, when they got them in there, not just the group, what their names were. There's 11 people arrested over it. But it's like beating your head on the wall. Until you can get the authoritarian of Cookville to tell the truth, the flock isn't going to budge. Like, they don't even have their own opinions. They're repeaters. They say the same lines, like catchphrases. No building ever fell from fire. You can just predict what they're going to say because they're just repeating shit that's sloganeered on their radio show. But anyway, whatever. Screw Alex. It ain't his fault. Tarpley's the idiot that's been saying this shit. Alex has been giving him a voice for it. Tarpley's a moron. The Egyptian Revolution was not the CIA. And that's common goddamn sense because the U.S. doesn't benefit at all from this revolution. The military junta that's in charge has to have elections in September. The people are still even protesting that. They've had to dissolve the entire government. And Egypt's learning that, you know, we don't really need a government. It was, first off, it was WikiLeaks and stuff that tried to blame this stuff on the CIA. They started that even in Tanzania. Don't buy that. WikiLeaks is crap. Alex is crap.